What is up, fam? Welcome back to Authentic Rehab. My name is Zachary Beckwith and I help people live authentically. Today, I want to talk about trading in attachment for authenticity, and most importantly, why us as humans are even in this predicament in the first place. When we are born, we have two very important needs. One is the need for attachment, and the other is the need for authenticity. We have a need for attachment as we rely on our primary caregivers in order for us to survive. We rely on the love, the connection, and the security that is given by these caregivers. If we did not have these things, we would not survive. We also rely on authenticity, being in touch with our intuition, our gut feelings, being able to express our inner wants and our inner needs. When you think about a child, an infant, they are very much in touch with their intuition or their gut feelings. When they're hungry, they cry out. When they're cold or hot or uncomfortable or need to be changed, they cry out. They are in touch with their intuition. At a certain point, we learn to go away from our intuition, from our gut feelings. And the reason that we do this is because we realize that our authenticity often coincides with our attachment to these relationships that we require in our minds to survive. So many people very early on seem to suppress their authenticity, suppress their inner wants, their inner needs in order to maintain these attachment relationships. Myself, I learned now through the inner work that I've been doing that I did this from a very early age. In my household, my parents were extremely stressed. 3 kids, very young couple, doing the best that they can, but there was a lot of stress. I realized that when my parents were stressed, when they were upset with something that was going on in their lives, their personal life, that might not have had anything to do with me specifically, I was so self-centered as a young child that I thought that it was because of something that I was doing. So I started to suppress my authentic self as I thought that whatever I was doing wasn't enough, or that they were stressed or angry because of me. I also realized that when my parents were stressed or angry, my emotional needs weren't always met. When my parents were happy, all of my needs were met. When they weren't, the emotional needs weren't always met. And this is to no fault of my parents. My parents did the best that they could with the emotional capacity and the consciousness that they had at that time. But I did realize that I learned, this is a mentality that I picked up. I learned to people please. That when my parents were happy, my needs were met. When they weren't happy, all of my emotional needs were not met. Therefore, I learned to people please, to suppress my inner wants, my inner needs and desires in order to make people around me happy, because when they were happy, all of my needs would get met. So what happens is the attachment and our authentic self clash. We learned that for many people, they were to be seen, not heard. That big boys don't cry, or if they did express how they were really feeling, their parents didn't take it very well. So they, from a very early age, learned to suppress their emotions, suppress their authenticity. And this carries on in life, as many of us find ourselves in relationships where we suppress our inner wants, our inner needs. We suppress our authenticity in order to maintain an attachment within a relationship. For example, you might be dating a girl right now who you really, really love, or whatever you want to call it. And you know that from early on in the relationship, you may have put on a little bit of a front, or you might have suppressed your true authentic self, as this is what you've done all through childhood, from your primary caregivers from birth all the way on. Now you're in a relationship and you're suppressing your authentic self. You're suppressing your inner wants and your inner needs in order to please somebody else. As you fear, as you always did fear, that if you were your authentic self and expressed all of your needs and wants and inner desires, that you would lose or could potentially lose this relationship. We need to learn to get back in touch with our intuition, with our gut feelings and our authenticity that we all carry. These coping skills, these survival mechanisms that we carry from childhood no longer serve us very often into adulthood. This suppression of authenticity and suppression of my inner wants and inner needs, in a way, allowed me to survive my childhood. However, they are wreaking havoc in adulthood in my life nowadays. And within the last 9 months, I have learned to stop suppressing my inner wants, my inner needs, and my authenticity, and learn to embrace who I am. You may lose relationships, you may lose friends by being authentic, but I promise you, you will gain the right ones. The people that are meant to be in your life will always be there, and they will applaud you for being authentic. They will respect you for asserting yourself and being who you were always meant to be. I hope that this helps. I don't want people to think that I'm blaming parents or that I'm here to shame past generations. That is not the case. We do the best that we can with the consciousness and the emotional maturity that we have in that very moment. Our parents did the best that they could. However, we see how society causes so much stress. Back in the day, generations back, mothers very often didn't have to work. Now you have both fathers and mothers working their tails off 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and we wonder why stress in households are so much more prevalent. We're stressed because we're overworked. We have to do so much more to survive in the world nowadays. However, there is a way out of this. There is a way to live authentically and stop repressing our emotions. My generation, myself, we need to learn to break this cycle, break the cycle of emotional repression, break the cycle of losing our authenticity for attachment and relationships that we think serve us, but don't always serve us. I really hope that this helps. I love you all, and I hope you have a very wonderful weekend. Namaste.